able to present to you from halfway across the world. It is a very early morning in Canada, and I believe it's about 4 o'clock in India. So, good evening to you all. I wanted to talk about the initiative, Love Across Borders, and let me start right at the very beginning. Earlier this year, I launched my digital publishing company, Indie. And the aim behind Indie was to connect authors, new and upcoming authors from across South Asia and bring them together, work with them on their stories and on their narratives, and then publish digital books which would be available to readers across all the countries, from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, all across all platforms. What emerged out of this was a couple of insights, and the first was how easy it was for all of us to come together, to work together across borders. My editors would be sitting in Mumbai and be connecting to authors who were anywhere in these countries. And the books were easily distributed and easily shared across borders. The second thing that emerged from this was just how little we all knew about each other, especially the authors from India and Pakistan. There was so very little that each knew about the other, and there were so very many questions that the authors had for each other. And from these two insights was born the initiative Love Across Borders. So what Love Across Borders ended up being was this initiative to use the power of words and stories to tell new stories. We're all familiar with the narratives of the Big Divide, 1947, families being torn apart, regions being split apart, people losing their all and then traveling from one side to the other, finding new homes, sometimes meeting with acts of kindness, sometimes meeting with horrific ends. But these stories have been there with us and have shaped our history and shaped our thinking about the people across the border for the last 66 years. And we really have not moved on from that point. And what I thought was important and necessary was to create new narratives, new stories about people today, about what people are like across the border, and possibly the biggest form of connection we have today, which is social media, which is digital connections. A youth sitting in Pakistan today can easily connect across the border via Facebook, via Twitter, and a variety of other mediums. And so these digital channels now enable us to make these new connections. And what we need to encourage these new connections, to encourage the youth and people of both these countries to come together and to understand each other more closely, are new stories, new ways of thinking about each other. And so the entire collection of Love Across Borders are stories which are told fictionally, but which are about people coming together from across the border and making connections. There are stories about people reconnecting with old friends that they had met at an American university 30, 40 years ago. There are stories about a young bride from Pakistan who has come to Delhi to buy a wedding dress from the same dressmaker that her mother had her wedding dress made from, and how the Delhi bride connects with the bride in Karachi. And so these stories are from all across, and they are about real people making real connections. Tanya, can you switch the slide, please? And so the uniqueness and impact of this initiative is that this is the first time, at least in this region, that the power of fiction has been tapped for social change. And when dealing with issues that are as historically charged as Indo-Pak relations, fiction really allows us to take the time to separate ourselves from our own stories and then create an environment in which new ways of thinking about the other can be developed. The collection was launched on midnight, August 14th and 15th, the magic half an hour that the times overlap for both countries. and this collection was made widely available. It is available as a free download. We had a big social media launch behind it. We had a lot of significant media coverage from across both the countries. The major newspapers in both countries picked up the story, ran it on their Facebook pages, sent out tweets and Facebook messages around it. To date, thousands of copies of the anthology have been downloaded, and the anthology is still available today on Flashbirds and a variety of other platforms. So in summary, and in addition, the anthology received a lot of support from a lot of key figures from across the border, artists, authors, politicians. A lot of support was given for the anthology. In summary, I don't think that this anthology was ever intended to be a simplistic solution. I don't think it will change foreign policy. I don't think it will overnight change relations between the two countries. But what I think what it started was the ability for an average person sitting in one of these countries to actually begin to understand that the other is not the enemy, that the other across the borders has the same fears, the same hopes, is the same person as the person on the other side of the border. That a line stretched in the sand 66 years ago does not make two people living on either side of the line any different. And this anthology does allow us to start understanding the other, to start connecting in this really digitally enabled world where there is no reason for us to be apart. And I hope that this initiative continues. We have great plans to make it a part of our publishing history and to bring new stories and new narratives every year to the subcontinent, and to use fiction to bring peace to the region, to bring understanding to the region, to bring the people of India and Pakistan together. Thank you. I believe if there are any questions at this point, the floor is open.
Hello. In hearing, unseen perhaps. And
if you can just tell me the question in the background.
I wanted to know, you were talking about stories and narrative. Does it include plays written in English?
So the question is, do your stories include plays? And no, these are purely fiction. I think my favorite story, and I'm just going to give it away at this point, is the first story in the book. It is about a Pakistani man who is in love with the 70s girl. And he talks about her, he talks about the kind of clothes she wears, the fact that she's bold and she's daring, and that she lives across the border, that he's gone and even visited India in the hopes of getting together with her, but somehow their love doesn't quite survive. And at the end, you realize when he says, oh, she recently passed away, and he's crying for her, you realize that in fact the girl that he's referring to is Parveen Babi, the actress. So our stories aren't plays, but they are stories taken from all kinds of scenarios. From film actresses to brides to old friends connecting to people making new connections on Facebook.
Good morning, Naheed. Yeah, a small question. I have a short film with me. It's about India-Pak relations. A school-going girl asked her father, when 25 countries in Europe can join, why not 2 countries? This is about the film. So can it be used in some way in the work you are doing, or you are only restricting to words, not visuals and audio?
Can you just rephrase it?
It doesn't seem like there are any other questions on the floor. I just want to take this opportunity to again thank all the people who supported who supported the initiative from both sides of the border. There was Mohsen Hamid, Amita Kumar. I think the first set of support came from Javed Akhtar and Shabana Azmi, and I will be eternally grateful to them because they pointed out what
Just
an
that
exciting
short
and
film on
interesting
Indo-Pak relations.
endeavor this is.
Any music?
I just want to take the opportunity to thank them and all the other authors and all the other people who supported this initiative, and to the media company for picking it up, to newspapers for running the story, and to Manthan, of course, for bringing this, creating this platform where I could talk about the initiative. Thank you. A short film on Indo-Pak relations, can you use it? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. There are a number of people who are working around Indo-Pak relations. Aman Kyasha is one of them. We are in touch with a couple of filmmakers who are trying to work around this subject. Would love to hear from anybody who's planning a film because we do have the stories, we do have the writers, and we'd love to collaborate in a project like this. Especially, of course, if Shah Rukh Khan could do it. Thank you very much.
I also think this would be the perfect time to talk about a book which we at Education Empowerment Foundation have launched. And as an extension of that project, we are also launching a e-heritage project. This is in collaboration with IHCN and UNESCO. Moe is here, she will be talking more detail about the project. But before that, I would like to call all three of you over here and we want to launch the book. And we're really lucky to have the author of the book, and he's here. Kale bhai, please come on stage.